Wiping beads of sweat from his weathered face, Thomas Miller desperately sifted through a pile of hay. Beams of midday sun pierced through the gaps in the barn's wooden walls, illuminating dancing dust motes, yet offering no clue to the lost relic his grandfather's pocket watch. This last tangible link to the man who had imparted the wisdom of farming and life's lessons had vanished without a trace into the sea of straw. The watch itself held little material value, a modest silver case, a worn leather strap, and a fine crack across its face. For Thomas, however, it was a priceless treasure. 15 years prior, his grandfather, in his final moments, had placed it in his grandson's palm, advising, "Time is the true currency, Tommy. Use it wisely." Since then, Thomas had never been without it, feeling its familiar weight in his pocket as a constant reminder of his grandfather's legacy. But today, that connection was broken. While repairing a broken stall, he discovered it was gone. Panic seized him instantly and completely. "Damn it!" he growled, kicking a nearby bucket in frustration. 3 hours of fruitless searching had yielded nothing. The enormous, nearly century-old barn held countless nooks, crannies, and mountains of hay. The watch could be anywhere. Suddenly, the cheerful voices of children drifted through the open barn doors. The Henderson family, his neighbors, had arrived with their kids, who were playing a lively game of tag on the lawn. An idea sparked in Thomas's mind. Stepping outside, he squinted against the bright sun. "Hey there!" he called out to the 5 children, ranging from 8 to 12 years old. Their game immediately stopped, and curious eyes turned to him. "I've lost my grandfather's watch somewhere in the barn," he explained, gesturing behind him. "Whoever finds it gets $10. What do you say?" The reaction was immediate. Like a small army, the children charged into the barn, filling its wooden walls with joyful shouts. Thomas couldn't help but smile, watching their enthusiasm, though his anxiety lingered. What if the watch was truly gone forever? What if it had fallen into a crack between the floorboards or was lost deep within the hay beyond reach? For nearly an hour, the barn echoed with the sounds of active searching, hay flying everywhere, boxes being moved, and the air filled with sneezes from the dust. Thomas joined the children, continuing his own methodical search. Yet with each passing minute, his hope dwindled. Finally, Mrs. Henderson called from outside, "Kids, time for dinner!" One by one, the children emerged from the barn, hay clinging to their clothes and hair, disappointment etched on their smudged faces. "Sorry, Mr. Miller," said the oldest girl, Emma, with a sprinkle of freckles across her nose. "We looked everywhere." Thomas forced a smile. "It's all right. Thanks for trying." As the Henderson family prepared to leave, Thomas noticed one boy, 10-year-old Samuel, the quietest of them all, remained in the barn. "Sam's still in there," Thomas informed Mrs. Henderson. She sighed. "That boy always has his head in the clouds. Sam," she called. "Time to go." Samuel appeared in the barn doorway with a thoughtful expression. "Mr. Miller," he said softly, "can I try again by myself?" Thomas was surprised by the request. The other children were eager to leave, tired of the fruitless search. "Are you sure, son? It's like looking for a needle in a haystack." Samuel nodded, looking at him seriously through his glasses. "I have an idea." Mrs. Henderson glanced at her watch. "We have 5 more minutes, but then we really have to go." Thomas shrugged. "All right, Sam, give it another shot." The boy disappeared back into the barn. The other children shuffled impatiently by the car, skeptical of their brother's chances. Even Thomas himself had begun to resign himself to an irreversible loss. But to everyone's astonishment, Samuel reappeared just 4 minutes later, a triumphant smile on his face and the silver pocket watch swinging gently in his hand. "Found it," he quietly announced. Thomas couldn't believe his eyes. He rushed to the boy and, with trembling hands, took the watch. It was indeed the one, his grandfather's watch, still ticking. Relief washed over him with such force that he was momentarily speechless. "Sam, that's incredible!" Thomas stammered, pulling out his wallet and handing the boy a $10 bill. "But how? We all searched for hours." Samuel, smiling shyly, tucked the money into his pocket. When everyone was looking, it was really noisy. Footsteps, rustling hay, talking. I couldn't hear anything. He adjusted his glasses. "So, when I was alone, I just sat on the floor and closed my eyes. I stayed still and started to listen." "Listen?" Thomas echoed, puzzled. Samuel nodded. "In the quiet, I heard them ticking. The sound came from under the workbench in the corner. The watch must have fallen into an old boot." Thomas stared at the boy, astonished by his perceptiveness. Such a simple solution, and none of them had thought of it. Everyone had been too busy with active searching, creating noise and commotion, when all that was needed was silence. Mrs. Henderson beamed with pride. "Sam has always been the most observant of my children. While his brothers and sisters run around wildly, he notices things that escape our attention." Thomas himself had always been drawn to details that eluded common sight, possessing a rare ability to notice nuances others simply missed. Yet that evening, as he sat on his porch, watching the sunset with his grandfather's watch in hand, he realized the 10-year-old boy had opened his eyes to something new. His wise grandfather had taught him countless valuable lessons throughout his life, but today a child had added another profound insight. In a modern world that so highly values continuous movement and noise, the profound power hidden in stillness and silence is often underestimated. Sometimes the answers we desperately seek are not found in frantic searching, but in the ability to calm ourselves and listen for the subtle signals that have always been there. Thomas closed his eyes and immersed himself in the gentle symphony of sounds filling his farm, the chirping of crickets, the rustling of leaves, the distant lowing of cows. He realized how much he had missed by not truly knowing how to listen. In that moment, he promised himself to find more quiet moments throughout the day, to simply sit still and attend to the world around him, to nature, to other people, to his own heart. The watch in his hand continued its soft ticking, as if confirming his words and counting the precious seconds of his life.